Oh, you actually clicked on the thumbnail. Oh, I guess I'll start the video then. Do you guys remember that really cool and amazing sense of wonder you'd get playing video games as a child that was there but like slowly slipped away as you got older in life and eventually just started to feel nothing? You know the one. That feeling of, yep, it's a video game. Well, I didn't, because all I ever played in my childhood was Lego Indiana Jones.
Hey, you. Finally awake.
Welcome to Skyrim. Welcome to the Elder Scrolls Skyrim VR. A game that captured me in a way that I never really thought was possible. Okay, yes, I know I'm a little late to this one, and to be honest, I've owned Skyrim VR for longer than I've owned my Vive. Never impulse buy a game before you have the system it runs on. I swear I barely touched half the VR games I bought before buying a Vive. But everyone's mum and their neighbor's dead great-grandma's dog has played Skyrim in one way or another. Looking at you, Alexa! So, I never really gave it a good go. Most of my pre-Skyrim VR hours were logged trying to get mods to work, or never actually doing a legitimate run-through of the game. I even had a cracked version of Skyrim that I put a good 40 hours into before I could actually afford the legitimate version. But yet, after even all this time, the magic of the Elder Scrolls series has somehow eluded me. I never took the time to try and be fully immersed in the world. Skyrim VR is f***ing incredible. I opened up Steam one day and went, I put my headset on. I started the game and I went, huh. I took off my headset, installed some mods, and went, holy shit. And yes, to really get the proper Skyrim experience, you do need to install a few mods, but we're not really going to get into that just yet. But it wasn't until I installed those mods that I truly realized what made this game so great. You get this entire open world to paint your own story with the blank canvas that is you in the game. You, right there, look, there you are. And notice I said you and not your character, because I really do believe that the definitive way to truly immerse yourself is not to act as whatever character you're pretending to be in the game, but to legitimately put yourself into your character. Really be the head in the hands, chopping the heads off your victims and scorching them with hellfire, only to reanimate them seconds later and throw them off a cliff.
Dragonborn.
Because at the end of the day, isn't that the way the game is really meant to be played? Not for the blank canvas that is your character to allow for someone that isn't new onto it. Who the fuck even is this guy? It's for you yourself, to explore these incredible worlds and show you everything it has to offer. Let it tell you that you are the dragon-slaying, ultimate vampire lord, tomb raiding, foul felling, troll trashing, mud crab massacring, Atronach annihilating, KFC killing, badass that everyone wants to be friends with for some reason. What? Because that's what, well, in my eyes at least, makes the VR version of Skyrim the definitive way to play it. Because this is so much more immersive than this. This doesn't even come close. In a medium that's specifically made for you to project yourself into, this is the best way to do it. By covering your eyes and ears, while the global pandemic doesn't unfold before your covered eyes and ears. Playing Skyrim VR gives me a closer feeling to playing Oblivion than Skyrim. Oblivion, with all its weird quirks,
Please be generous, kind sir, is a fairy tale.
feels incredibly open and huge. The sky is miles above you and the meadows roll smoothly forward, acres in front of you. Skyrim just doesn't feel like that for me. Its constant changing in terrain height, jagged geometry, its washed out colors, makes this feel a lot less welcoming than this. But in VR, these areas become more of an implication of what should be a large world. They really do open up and become a huge, wide open space, and they seem a lot more inviting than the original. The exploration factor is dialed up to 11, and you can't help but feel like it's a little bit special, that the experience you're having is unique to everyone else who's played the game. This game has been the only thing I've played for weeks. My play sessions would normally last a good 4 to 5 hours at a time. But it being VR, it comes with a few issues, you know. When you pick it up, the Vive isn't actually that heavy. When you wear it on your head, it's also pretty comfortable. And this isn't a fault of Bethesda or any of those dipshits. But good golly goodness, this thing gets a little wide around the middle, if you know what I'm saying. It's been going to a few too many virtual KFCs, if you know what I'm on about, brother. What the fuck am I on about? My face always looks like this after playing. I've tormented myself for so many weeks that I swear my face has gained a second layer of hardened skin. This game has single-handedly almost made me exclusively play all my VR games like this. Because I've put my feet through so much abuse, I think I'm about to get a letter from the court ordering me to stay 100 meters away from them at all times. And yes, playing VR like this does look stupid, but at this point, if you're willing to do this, then you probably don't care about what you look like anyway. And let's be honest, you didn't buy a VR system to look cool. I'm not here to explain why VR is amazing, or why the actual content of Skyrim itself is amazing, because none of that needs explaining. But Skyrim VR brings something new to the table. Something that I sort of knew was possible, but never really thought of or experienced myself in a VR title before. And no, I haven't played Half-Life Alyx yet. I'm saving up for a Valve Index before I take the dive, so don't at me. The massive depth and ability to create your own adventure that could last hundreds of hours to, this extent is pretty much unheard of in any other VR title, which is a shame, because VR lends itself pretty much perfectly to this formula, minus a few things, and it's a shame that VR hasn't evolved enough that this is commonplace. But I guess blanketing our increasingly dull lives with simple yet incredibly polished gameplay with no story narrative whatsoever is just gonna have to do for us VR owners as we sit upon our ivory fucking towers. But enough of that. Let's talk about how we can take this and make it something better. Vrick is a nifty little mod. Or VRIK, I'm fairly certain it's pronounced Vrick, but it's a pretty cool mod that allows you to see your in-game arms and body. This is more of a personal choice, but I personally believe it's incredibly important for immersion to have a body in VR. Especially saying that for the most part, Bethesda's bare minimum corner-cutting, bug-riddled effort of a VR port it isn't going to cut it. So, to fix this, I installed Vrick, and it works incredibly well. I'd argue that for any game or game port that's too lazy to add collisions in, VR arms are a must-have. This is because your arms are more or less going to mimic where your actual real-life arms are, making less of this and more of this. And, apart from that, I just think it's incredibly cool, and it's just an important mod to a feature that really should be a part of the core gameplay from the start anyway. The combat system in Skyrim is a bit... and I'm more of a mage main myself, so a magic mod for me is a must-have. Spell Siphon is one of my favourite magic mods because it's so dynamic, and what I mean by that is that you barely have to enter any menus to use it. Once you set up everything the way you want, you're good to go. Just equip bind and bingo bango motherfucking bongo, you're killing dragons like it's nothing. Oh no! Oh please! Oh for fuck's sake! Please! I'm sorry! Please! No! It was just a prank, that was for a YouTube video! No! You've left me no choice but to activate my trump card! Go gadget! Time fuckery! Oh, you're fucked now! Oh, how does it feel knowing you let everyone down? The main reason I really like this mod is because it doesn't have a tutorial that just says, here's the controls, go play the game. It has actual pages that fit into the story you have to study in order to master the mechanics, and they're written in such a way that it makes sense in terms of Skyrim's gameplay, and it still works in terms of Skyrim's story as well. This is something I appreciate this so much, oh my god. And it should be seen in more games. I'm surprised this is a mechanic that I've only really seen properly in a mod. It's implemented so well. Just the writing, you have to read these for yourself, because they make sense once you understand Skyrim's mechanics. But they also don't just say, press trigger to do X action. This really should be something that's taken up in more games. I love it so much. This mod is so incredibly complex. And I'm not even going to get into it like right here and now. It's too much to unfold. That is another can of worms that there are tutorials online. Go look at it if you like. This mod I highly recommend, but it does take a lot of practice. But oh my god, this mod is it's the coolest thing ever. Okay, just do yourself a favor and keep the demons at bay. If you're gonna do anything in this game, just go straight to Solstheim and lose your fucking mind as Hermaeus Mora invades your real life dreams when you least expect it.
Excuse me. Okay, hold on. Oh, what the fuck is that?
Honestly, the amount of different worlds and changes in scenery this game provides it's actually mind-boggling. It's so incredibly cool to exit a Dwemer ruin and all of a sudden you're in a giant glowing mushroom cave.
And in that mushroom cave holds a giant centurion that you can't help but turn on. It's right there. I could turn it on, but then, destroy me. I won't see what, fuck. Fuck it, let's go. Fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Ah!
I'd never played any of the vampire storyline. Spoilers for those who haven't played this and intend to play the VR version, please go do so now. When I was wandering through an ancient castle and all of a sudden I'm told I have to go to the Soul Cairn, let me tell you, I was not prepared. Like, holy fuck Bethesda, how are you finna let me go into this unprepared? I ended up just exploring the whole area, just out of pure fascination. I wasn't expecting to find anything. I just wanted to get as much value out of it as I could. It was incredible. And I felt that sense of wonder. I felt it. It was there. It was in my brain, bro. And it's so cool to know that any second you could just be taken away to a mysterious and visually stimulating place. And I mean, it has little to no explanation or backstory most of the time. It's just all the storytelling is in the visual narrative you see. Like Apocrypha, it's the realm of knowledge. You know that because there's a fuck ton of books there. Like, that's what I'd say Bethesda does best, is narrative visual storytelling. They're so good at it. Like, everything that you need to know about the world is pretty much always just what you immediately see in front of you when you're exploring. And because that's how they design their games, when you experience that, you truly are exploring. You're unfamiliar with pretty much any of the surrounding area. You know basically nothing about anything around you. You have to be on your toes at all times because you have no idea what's out there to get you. And out of all the things that Bethesda does, good or bad, world development and design is probably the best thing that they do. Because, yeah, there's not much else they're good at, to be honest.
Now, this isn't Bethesda's strongest suit. They go for more quantity than quality. And they more or less let your imagination fill in the blanks. And if you're anything like me, then your imagination wandered off many moons ago, along with your childhood. But William, you're still 19, you're still a shut the fuck up. Disneyland says I'm an adult. I've been an adult since I was 12, okay? I'm a big boy now, so you can shut the fuck up. If you're gonna do anything in this game, get started with either joining the Dawn Guard, or the Thieves Guild, or the Dark Brotherhood, because those will really get your role-playing ball rolling. They will get you fucking started. That's where you go. These are the two things I actually found myself getting really invested in, was becoming a vampire, or not, if you're a pussy. Honestly, that is probably one of the coolest things you could do. Like, you feel powerful as hell. It's really cool to add to, like, just more mechanics and more complications to your gameplay. That, you know, you have to weigh up whether or not you should attack that giant fucking 12 in midday. or whether you should wait until night where you're actually stronger and not as weak. You know, the idea that you have to decide when you're going to be the last thing your enemies see before they shit themselves. Because, you know, it's not a matter of if. It will happen eventually. We're all part of this mortal coil together, and one day we will die. The Thieves Guild is a great little piece. It makes you feel sneaky, and it makes you feel a part of that, you know, that really, the really exclusive cool kids club in school that, you know, only the certain people were allowed to be a part of. Not that I would know. I mean, I'm assuming. I'm just guessing. But, you know, as from the information I have, that's what I'm assuming it would feel like. I mean, it's pretty much universally loved by most people. It's a good storyline, for the most part. I would like to note for the record that the Honeymead Brewery part of the game, that mission for the Thieves Guild is the dumbest fucking thing. Okay, no, actually, it is the dumbest, most laziest designed quest. It's the most lazy... okay, I've never seen something that is so ridiculously poorly designed, okay? Like, the tasting ceremony consists of 4 people, including you. And why is it when you put the poison into the vat, does it somehow magically transport into this barrel as soon as you leave the building? Nothing about this quest makes any sense. I mean, the owner gets you to poison the rat cave. And it's clearly infested by frostbite spiders that are killing off the skeevers. And you put the poison in the skeever's nest so it's not going to affect the fucking frostbite spiders that are the actual problem. And yet somehow this thing still magically fixes this mini skeevers epidemic. And yet this whole thing was so that the meadery owner wouldn't have anyone know about the skeevers infestation. And yet the guy who is tasting the mead states that he already knew that it was a filthy place anyway.
I should have known better to trust this place after it's been riddled with filth.
I'm convinced that the person who designed this thing was a skeever, because the amount of IQ that went into this logic, it makes no sense. There is no logic or reasoning behind this whole thing. Oh my god. I hate it. I hate it so much. It is dumb. It's the worst thing that has ever been made. And honestly, the Thieves Guild, pretty cool. This particular mission is the dumbest thing ever. The whole thing. I mean, literally, the guy you talk to start the quest says they've been planning this for weeks. The level of irony that holds is just fucking ridiculous. It is stupidly dumb. Skyrim's a pretty good game. It's fun. And in conclusion, my time with it so far has been pretty good. I haven't played Skyrim properly, and this is pretty much my first impression outside, like, you know, I've had rudimentary knowledge of the story. I wasn't really much into the lore. I was just there for the mechanics of the game. And I'm, aside from that, pretty much a first timer. I mean, loosely, you know. I know about the game, and I know certain parts of it, but this was my first proper playthrough. And holy shit. To sum it up, the game is good. Bethesda is bad. No one likes Bethesda, and the people who do probably shouldn't. They corrupt everything they touch to a degree. So, in conclusion, for the third time, I think, it's 4 a.m. I'm tired. This is like my 80th take. I'm losing the ability to speak, so we're going to wrap this up really quick because I cannot do this for much longer. The game is great. I love the game. And from a first-timer's perspective, it's pretty cool. And it can be expanded on, because the game was never designed for VR. It could be a lot better. But in terms of story, I want to see more games that do that. I want to see more games that are just massive in VR and have these great open worlds that aren't made by Bethesda. Because fuck Bethesda. They release their games that are half functional. They rip off. They have no respect for any of their customers. Any of the people who pay the money, that's all they are for them. I'll make another video about that probably, but you know, that's for another day. I don't want to add to the fucking shit pile that part of YouTubers. Drop out of school, smoke crack, do a lot of drugs, and call your mum, tell her you love her, or your dad, or whoever's closest, whoever deserves it. Just be positive and shit, and remember, university and doing degrees are for idiots. Until I get a degree. If I get a degree. I probably won't. And if that's the case, then university is for dumbasses. And let me state that for the record.
Oh, are you fucking serious? Really?